This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from October 24th to October 26th of 2025. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now, I apologize that last Monday we did not update the US Men's National Team Abroad episode. That's because I had explosive diarrhea. And I showed my friends pictures of it. It was nasty. It was insane. They said they've never seen something like that in their entire lives. So I hope you understand. I'm sure you've gone through it. Now, before we even start, a quick update. Bad news. We actually have bad news. Cameron Carter-Vickers has injured his Achilles, and he's expected to be out for 3 to 5 months. Now, these injuries can be tricky, which means it's very likely that he probably won't make it to the World Cup. That's because he'll miss the November camp, he'll miss the March camp, and we don't even know if he'll actually be back this season fully fit. So Cameron Carter-Vickers, even though we don't know if he would have made the World Cup roster anyway, he's probably out. And one viewer of the channel made a tremendous recommendation, and we're going to start doing it every Monday. At the end of the episode, when I finish the entire recap, I am going to give you my player of the week. And you can let me know in the comment section down below who was the player of the week or the player of the weekend. And also make sure to drop a like. Help us hit maybe 1,000 likes if that's even possible. And that's all. Let's roll the intro and start the episode. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe. The first one I want to talk about is the Italian Serie A. So we're going to go to Italy and talk about the Americans that play there. The first one being Christian Pulisic from Milan. And unfortunately, as you may already know, Pulisic is injured. He injured his hamstring and he's not expected to be back until after the international break. So Pulisic will be back somewhere around mid to late November, maybe early December. And listen, Pulisic rested all summer. Pulisic had his minutes managed by Milan throughout this season so far, and he still injured his hamstring. What's my point here? I'm not taking a jab on Pulisic for resting the summer. It's just that injuries can happen. What is happening to me right now is that I'm a bit concerned because he rested. His body should have been fine. And if it was a contact injury, that would have been less concerning. If it's a muscle injury, hopefully it doesn't linger on, because we need this guy healthy for the World Cup. If Pulisic's not fully fit for the World Cup, we might as well quit. But we'll talk about that if it happens. I don't think it will. The next player is Yunus Musa from Atalanta. And on Saturday, Musa stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Atalanta, and that's actually 3 straight games where he gets 0 minutes. And I said this when the move happened, and obviously the haters on X especially said that I was wrong about it. I said that Musa had to take a step down instead of going to Atalanta, which is more or less a step sideways, or maybe even a bit higher than Milan these days. I'm not sure. Probably sideways. He's not Milan level. He's not Atalanta level. He should have taken a step down. The minutes won't be there. He's probably going to go back to Milan because it's a loan next summer. And they're going to try to sell him, and they'll have to sell him for like 1/3 or half of the price. But it is what it is. I'm always called crazy until, a few months later I'm proven right. Next up, we have Weston McKennie from Juventus. And on Sunday, McKennie started and played 78 minutes for Juve during their 1-0 loss to Lazio. Now, McKennie mostly played as a left wingback, and then I think he got a few minutes as a right wingback before he got subbed out around the 78th minute. And I thought he had a good game. He picked a few good passes here and there on offense. He looked confident on the ball in possession and rock solid on defense. He was much more involved on offense than I expected, and every time that he was involved, he was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was a tremendous performance by McKennie, but it was a good one. However, Juventus has now not won a single game over the past 8 matches. And they're also on a 3-game losing streak, which is not good. They've been sucking quite a bit. Next up, we have Ben Cremaschi from Parma. And this is the guy that destroyed New Caledonia in the U20 World Cup for whatever that's worth. And on Saturday, Cremaschi got 0 minutes for Parma once again during their 0-0 draw with Como. He has been there for roughly 2 months now, and he's been available for like 4 to 5 games where he got 0 minutes. They simply don't trust him. Yeah, they don't trust Cremaschi. The same way I always say this, never trust a fart. I don't trust farts. And I learned that last weekend too, but we don't have to dive into that again. I talked about this before. But Cremaschi never really shined or dominated in Major League Soccer, and then he goes to the Serie A, which is a much tougher league, and what did anyone expect? This is exactly what I expected. Now, will he eventually get minutes? Probably. He'll make his debut. I just never really understood this move from a Parma perspective and a Cremaschi perspective, unless he wanted to live in Italy. That's the only way it makes sense. Okay, but it's time to leave Italy and go to England to talk about the Americans in the English Premier League. The first one being Chris Richards from Crystal Palace. And on Sunday, Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace during their 1-0 loss to Arsenal. Overall, I thought he had a good performance. I mean, it's Arsenal. I know they're going to find a way to lose the Premier League, even though they currently lead the Premier League and they have been doing very well. They will find a way to lose it. They will bottle it. But they are currently the best team in the Prem, and this is not an easy opponent to face. After Chris Richards, we have Anthony Robinson from Fulham, and he didn't play for Fulham this weekend. He wasn't available for Fulham this weekend because his knee is still messed up. Now, is this concerning? Of course it is. He should have been back like a month ago. And it seems like he keeps having setbacks with that knee. The reason I'm overly concerned about it is because if for some reason A-Rob continues to have knee issues up until the World Cup and he's not available, the number one option, according to Pochettino, is Arfston. So pray. Start praying right now. Even if you're not religious, pray. After that, we have Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. And on Sunday, Tyler Adams started and played the full 90 minutes for Bournemouth during their 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest. And Tyler was actually incredible once again. He is essentially the heartbeat of their midfield. He brings in the intensity that they need, along with the fact that it may go unnoticed, but he does often bail out that back line. He was safe on the ball, as always, but he was crucial when it comes to defending. On top of that, he did get an assist. Now, let me just clarify this. It was an assist. He kind of just like rolled over while he got a steal right in the midfield and just kind of like rolled over with the opponent. It was a foul. He got fouled. But as he stole that ball, his own teammate took it after Tyler got fouled, ran like 30 or 40 yards, whatever, and then shot from distance and scored. So it was an assist. Still counts because he was the last player to touch the ball. And he also got the steal. But ignore the assist for a second, right? Because Tyler Adams' game is not defined by goal contributions. That's not his role, and that's not even where he excels. His performance was incredible, regardless of the assist. And keep in mind, he is a key player, a locked-in starter for Bournemouth, a team that is in second place in the Premier League right now, with 9 games into the season. That is quite remarkable. Last but not least, in England still, we have Brenden Aaronson from Leeds. And on Friday, Aaronson started and played 87 minutes for Leeds during their 2-1 win over West Ham. And two things can be true here. West Ham sucks this season. They could even get relegated. And they actually made Brenden Aaronson look like prime Kaká. But Aaronson was also very good, if not the best player for Leeds. He was the man of the match. This was probably his best performance with the Leeds jersey this season, maybe ever. Aaronson scored a tap-in 3 minutes into the game. That probably gave him confidence. And listen, it was a tap-in, but a goal is a goal. And this was his first Premier League goal of this season. Now, goal aside, Aaronson actually played well. He created 2 chances, tracked back, defended well, won most of his 50-50 duels, and he also had an incredible run. Oh no, that run was something else. When I joked about him looking like prime Kaká, just go watch that run. That was something Kaká used to pull off when he played for Milan and even won the Ballon d'Or in 2007, 8, something like that. Brenden Aaronson got the ball on the defensive end of the field. He blew by 3 or 4 players, ran around like 70 yards on his own with the ball and hit a long-range shot that hit the crossbar. Like I said, it was incredible. I gotta give Brenden Aaronson props, man, because he never takes the easy route. Think about it. He left MLS, went to Austria, played in the Champions League for Salzburg, did well, went to the Premier League with Leeds, got relegated, didn't play in the second division, went to the Bundesliga, did okay in the Bundesliga, went back to play for Leeds in the EFL Championship, helped them get promoted, now is playing the Premier League. He could have gone back to MLS at some point, made some good money, and actually performed at a very high level for himself. He would have been a very good player in MLS. Instead, he has chosen to stay in Europe, grind, and fight for a spot in these very tough teams, in these very tough leagues. That's not a bash on MLS. You can also have a hard time in MLS, but You know, Bundesliga, Premier League, MLS. Even though MLS is better than the Austrian league. Okay, before we continue, don't forget to drop a like in this video. And if you want to buy any Umbro product, 20% off, use the link and promo code in the description of this video. Link and promo code, you gotta use both, okay? Click on the link and use the promo code. Check it out, you might find some good stuff. You can get 20% off everything you purchase at any time. Next up, we have the Bundesliga, the Americans that play in Germany. The first one would have been Malik Tillman from Bayer Leverkusen. He's also injured, just like Christian Pulisic. He's not expected to be back until after the international break. So we're going to skip on him, and we're going to talk about, let's do Gio Reyna and Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And on Saturday, Scally and Gio started off the bench for Gladbach during their 3-0 loss to Bayern. Scally was subbed in around the 75th minute, and Gio Reyna was in around the 84th minute. So I don't have much to say here about both of them, but Gio specifically, he was in when Gladbach was already down 3-0 with like 7 minutes to go, and they were also playing man down. I guess at least he got some minutes and a good sweat. And I'll say this, if Gladbach gets relegated, which can happen, doesn't mean it will, but it can happen, Gio Reyna will probably be back in MLS next summer, unfortunately. Next up, we have Cole Campbell from Borussia Dortmund. And on Saturday, Cole Campbell didn't even make the bench for Dortmund. And honestly, after what I saw in the U20 World Cup, I don't even know how he made it as a Dortmund player. Next up, we have Noah Kai Banks from Augsburg. And on Saturday, Noah Kai Banks started and played the full 90 minutes for Augsburg during their 6-0 loss to RB Leipzig. And he's a center back, and they lost 6-0. So yes, you guessed it. He wasn't good. Yes, the entire team was ass, but if you're a center back and your team loses 6-0, I find it very unlikely that you had a good game. And yes, he did have a bad game. Unfortunately, his performance was close to being as bad as Jared Leto's performance as the Joker. Now, look, not all of the goals were on Noah Kai Banks, but the first one and the second one most certainly were. The other ones were a little bit on him, a little bit on someone else. The whole defense was a crap show. So the first goal, he actually mistimed the tackle and he was pulled out of position. Just a bad decision. Not great reading of the game, which can happen with young center backs. Now, the second goal, he lost his man on a low cross. He didn't get tight enough, and Homulu scored. So, again, the first goal was a lot on him, the second one as well, and all the other ones, he might have played a little bit of a role, but it's on the entire team. Now, you may be wondering, is this concerning? My answer to you is no. He's an 18-year-old center back in the Bundesliga. Expect him to struggle. And Augsburg, as a team, struggled. So it wasn't like an isolated performance where he was bad. The whole team was bad. He had his bad moments, and the other center backs with more experience also had terrible moments. I'm not concerned. This is valuable experience for Noah Kai Banks against a very tough opponent. And again, he's an 18-year-old center back. Center backs take longer to mature. I don't care if he has these bad performances because he also played a few games where he did well. This oscillation with young players is perfectly normal, unless you're insanely good, like a Lamine Yamal, for example. But that's not what we're talking about here, and how many Lamine Yamals are around there in the entire world. The last player we were going to talk about in the Bundesliga would have been James Sands from St. Pauli, but he was not available for St. Pauli this weekend due to a head injury. So now we're going to go to Spain, and the only American that we have in Spain is Johnny Cardoso from Atletico Madrid. And listen, they didn't play this weekend. They play on Monday, so you know the drill. Let us know in the comment section down below. Did Johnny play? How did he do? And you may be wondering, wasn't he injured? He's back in training, Johnny is healthy, and he's expected to make the bench for Atletico Madrid this Monday, where they play Real Betis, his former club. So let us know in the comment section down below, how did Johnny do? So it's time to go to France and talk about the Americans that play in Ligue 1. The first one being Florentin Balogun from Monaco and Marc McKenzie from Toulouse because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Balogun started and played 60 minutes for Monaco during their 1-0 win over Toulouse. Now, Balogun wasn't bad, but he also wasn't great. He was just kind of meh, right? He had a great opportunity to score from close range, but it was saved by the goalkeeper. And I'll say this, he could have done better with his finishing. He hit the target, but he could have done better. Now, besides that, he only got 20 touches. There's not much more I have to add. As for Marc McKenzie, he was mostly good, but he did get beat on the goal that Monaco scored. It was his guy that scored the header. But besides that, I thought McKenzie was mostly good throughout the game, and we also found out that he's really good at throw-ins. Just like McKennie that can throw a long ball into the box, McKenzie can do the same as McKennie. Next up, we have Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Saturday, Weah started and played 52 minutes, just 52 minutes by the way, for Marseille during their 2-1 loss to Lens. Weah got the assist for their first goal. It was a nice run down the right side of the field where he found Greenwood to finish from the edge of the box. On top of that, Weah actually looked dangerous. He was taking on defenders, setting up his teammates, tracking back. Now, the last American in France is Tanner Tessman from Lyon, and I watch him almost every weekend, as you all may know, but this weekend I did not watch him. But he did start for Lyon, and he pretty much played the full 90 minutes. He was subbed out around the 90th minute during their 2-1 win. I heard good things about his performance this weekend, but personally, I didn't watch it, so no further comments. So let's go to the Eredivisie. Let's go to the Netherlands and talk about the Americans that play for PSV, Ricardo Pepi and Serginho Dest. And on Sunday, Dest started and played the full 90 minutes for PSV during their 3-2 win over Feyenoord. And Dest was fine. He was reliable defensively for the most part. He was safe on the ball. He combined well. He wasn't really trying to take on defenders as he usually does, but that's not really a negative. His decision making was good. Now, Ricardo Pepi, he started off the bench and he was subbed in around the 83rd to 84th minute. And I actually thought that Ricardo Pepi was quite good. Despite not getting many minutes, he was extremely dangerous, making the right runs, finding a way to get a shot off. And honestly, if he had played at least 30 minutes, I am pretty certain that he would have scored a goal. Dest actually had a great chance to set up, or great opportunity to set up Pepi, but his passing was poor and Pepi couldn't reach the ball. Now, Pepi also had his shot blocked. He hit one shot on target. He was just very active despite only playing 10 minutes. He looked extremely dangerous. Oh, and in case you're wondering why Serginho Dest was benched for PSV during the midweek when they play in the Champions League, that's because apparently he arrived late to the game. So the coach benched him. I know we shouldn't be laughing at this because this is a US men's national team player, but if there was ever a player that I would expect to arrive late in a game, it would be Dest or McKennie or Tillman, because I think he actually did that, or he arrived late for practice. Alright, but let's go back to England and talk about the Americans that play in the second division of England, in the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Saturday, Sargent started and played 71 minutes for Norwich during their 2-1 loss to Swansea in the EFL Championship. Now, Sargent got the assist for the goal that they scored this game, and this was actually his first goal contribution ever since he came back from the US men's national team September camp. Yes, September. Not October, because he wasn't there in October, the September camp. He had no goal contributions the past 8 games for club and country. Oh, and Norwich has been terrible this season. They're currently in the relegation zone. They could fall to the 3rd division of England. So my prediction that Sargent will go back to MLS next summer is slowly becoming real. We did an entire video last week explaining and telling you which American players in Europe I think will go back to MLS in the summer of 2026 when the World Cup is happening. And spoiler alert, Sargent was one of them. If you want to know the other ones, go check out the video. But now, let's talk about Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji Wright started and played 73 minutes for Coventry during their 3-1 win over Watford. And they are actually outstanding this season. Coventry currently leads the EFL Championship with 8 wins, 4 draws in 12 games. They're the only team to still be undefeated. Now, Damian Downs from Southampton, he got 0 minutes for them this weekend. I don't even know if he's worth covering at this point, so we're going to skip him, even though we're not really skipping him. I just talked about him. We're going to talk about Aidan Morris from Middlesbrough. And on Friday, Aidan Morris started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough during their 1-1 draw with Wrexham. And Morris put on another great performance. He had the most passes completed with 94 accurate passes. He also almost had an assist. He won 7 out of 11 ground duels. Just another great game from Aidan Morris in the second division of England. In Middlesbrough, they're in second place in the EFL Championship at the time of this recording, only behind Coventry. Last but not least, we have Ajiman from Derby County. And on Saturday, Ajiman started and played 72 minutes for Derby County during their 1-0 win over QPR. I didn't watch him this week, so I can't tell you whether or not he played well, but he did have one impressive stat. So sit back, get some popcorn. I don't know if it's worth getting popcorn for this, but just listen. This stat was incredible. I've never seen something like this. Ajiman lost all of his ground and aerial duels. All of them in 72 minutes. And it wasn't just 1 or 2. He had 9 ground duels, and he lost every single one of them. He had 4 aerial duels, and he's a tall guy, and he lost all of them. Impressive. I'm seriously impressed. Okay, everyone, and my player of the week this weekend is Aaronson. I don't know who else to give it to. I mean, Tyler was a close one. I thought Weah was quite good as well, McKennie, but to me, it's pretty clear. It's pretty easy. Aaronson is the player of the weekend, and you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, and that's all for today. We'll see you guys later this week or next Monday for the other USMNT Abroad episode, but we should have one more episode this week. We'll predict the roster, predict the November roster, okay? Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.